Hello guys and welcome back to Married at First Sight Australia, and today we are going to be talking about Confessions Week. Now, we've just had the dinner party and next episode is the first ever commitment ceremony, so I'm very excited to jump into that next time. But for now, we are going to be talking all the drama, all the goss from Confessions Week. So before we get into the episode, I just want to say thank you guys very much for getting me to 800. The next goal is 900. Now, I know you guys can do that, so don't be letting me down there. But I have faith you're going to smash it. Don't even think you won't. So, without much further ado, let's get on with the video, shall we? So, we have got a lot to talk about, like a lot to talk about. We're going to start with Jaden and Eden. Now, Jaden and Eden were told to be honest with each other and write letters, and Jaden decided to tell Eden about a moment in his past that she needs to be aware of. Now, this was something that actually my friend told me about, and then was like, oh, I don't remember where it is, and it turned out it was literally on the next episode. So I went into it already knowing roughly what was going on, but I wanted to know what his tone was like, how he was saying it, what the actual details were, because my friend sometimes likes to just add a little bit of spice where there's no spice needed. So the whole thing was basically him explaining that his ex-girlfriend cheated on him with loads of different men, to the point where these men were coming up and being like, yo, I railed your missus. I've clapped cheeks. Like, you're clapping cheeks that I've clapped whilst you're clapping. That kind of thing. And he's obviously been really upset, and she's come running back to him being like, take me back, take me back. And he said, bet, but I want to sleep with your best friend. And you have to watch. And that happened. Now, my friend was like, oh, that's a really disgusting thing to do. And I went, I don't disagree with you. But she agreed to it. There was so many opportunities where she could have said, no. She could have said no when he suggested it. She could have said no before it even started. She could have said no even during it. Like, and the fact that one of her friends agreed to it, also crazy. Was he out of order? Abso-fucking-lutely. That's very questionable. However, how much blame lies with him and how much blame lies with her? Because the only reason why he said any of this is because she's cheated on him with many men. Many men have been through her, okay, in the time that they've been together. Nothing wrong with many men being through you, but not while you're in a relationship, please. So that was the first red flag of that situation. In fact, I might start like getting a red flag. I've got like a pink notebook that I can show you. I might make a red flag for the next time I do this video, but anytime I'm just gonna flash the notebook and you're gonna know that's a red flag. But yeah, so that was the first red flag. The second red flag was her begging him to take her back, and him saying, bet, but I want to sleep with your best friend. And she went, all right, sure. Red flag. How is that not a red flag? I feel like I need to whack these people around the head with them. So understandably, Eden was very upset. She was very hurt, and she didn't really know how to take this information. She went to go speak to Sarah or whatever the fuck her name is, and was basically like, this is what happened. And I was like, actually, now she's explaining it back. What a crazy situation to be in. Then she went back to Jaden and was like, what I didn't appreciate was when I said, do you regret it? And you went, no. You said it very quickly, and it just felt like you weren't remorseful. And he said, I don't regret it, but obviously I would not do that if I was if I was in that situation now. That's not who I am now. It's who I was, but it's not who I am now. And I was like, do you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. I can understand. I can get behind that. Sure. So yeah, that was the drama with Jaden and Eden. We're now going to move on to another couple, because guess who left in the last episode? Natalie and Collins. Guess who are back in this episode? Natalie and Collins. Yeah, I don't know why they're back. They don't work. He is the worst actor in the world, and I am just very concerned for Natalie's well-being and mental health, because it's very clear that this man is not into her and is just wanting to do the show. Because, and here's a couple of interesting reasons. She's like, I'm going to give you one more chance, but I don't want any of this surface level bullshit that you've been giving me. Give me something more. And I was like, absolutely fair enough. But they're still living apart. Okay. And then they did the photo ranking challenge, which I was like, oh, God. God, this is going to be horrendous. Because this is going to give Natalie a complex if he doesn't put her first. And he did put her first. And then I was like, red flag. Because I'm not being funny, but you've shown no interest in your wife this entire time. You briefly showed an interest at the wedding, and then something snapped during the reception, and it was like she almost disgusted you in like a low-key way. And then you physically had to build a barrier between you in a double bed. That's something that you do with a friend that you don't really know that you have to share a bed with, or someone you don't necessarily trust. That's not a great start to a relationship at all. So I don't know what's going on there. So that's red flag. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with those two, but I don't believe that this is going to work out, and I think he's going to be absolutely ripped to shreds at the next commitment ceremony. But I guess only time will tell. So up next we have the texting challenge. Giving your partner your phone to look through, essentially seeing the last text. I thought the whole idea was seeing their last text, not literally looking through everything on their phone, but it's fine. We move on. It is what it is. Natalie didn't do it. Lauren and Jonathan did it, and the only thing that they really found was that Lauren's last message was from KFC or something like that, which I found quite funny. Then Tori and Jack did it, and she looked through his camera roll and found pictures of him proposing to a different girl. Was a little bit of a moment, purely because, like, I'm not being funny, but like, why have you still got them on your phone? Like, I'll admit, I've got pictures of, like, when I was with exes, but that's, like, just not proposing photos. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's a little bit deep, and it's a red flag. I'm sorry, it is. I'm sorry, why have you still got pictures of women on your phone that you've proposed to? It would be different if it was just, like, oh, nice pictures of you and her. But it's a picture of him proposing to her. Next up we had Andrea and Richard. Now, Andrea and Richard was an interesting one because I would have personally said, but the way that it panned out was not so much, but I don't have anything green, I'm sorry. I should have like green and red flags. That would have been a really good one, actually. But I wasn't prepared for this video. I literally decided halfway through, right, that's my job next time, is to make red and green flags. Anyway, so he was like, oh yeah, my last message is from my ex. And obviously I was like, but then I was like, okay, deep it. He's in his 60s, bless him. He's probably good friends with his exes because they've got kids together or something like that. I don't know. And apparently the ex was really looking forward to meeting Andrea and getting to know her, and even defended Andrea and was like, oi, you can't treat her like that, etc, etc. It wasn't anything serious, but it was just nice to know that his ex is being supportive of this whole situation. So very much not a red flag, I would say. Finally, we had Sarah and Tim. Now, Sarah and Tim were a little bit interesting because Tim wrote a letter, opened his heart, and really told her how he was feeling. And then she was like, oh, that's really lovely. That's really lovely. And then it was almost as if the texting challenge, the phone challenge came up. And she was like, yeah, I'm not swapping my phone. You should trust me. Like, you shouldn't need to look through my phone. And I was just like, because I'm a big advocate of Your phone is your own, nobody else's business. But this is for a challenge in order to get to know your partner better. I think I think if it was a case of give me your phone, let me look through it, I'd be like, no, why do you want to look through my phone? What are you expecting to find on there? Because I'll show you, but you're not looking through my phone. But this was a case of like, oh, let's see the last text you wrote. And it just gives me bad vibes from Ciara, whatever her name is. I don't know, just a bit uncomfortable and a bit weird, yeah. ... Next up, we had the photo rank challenge. Now, for the most part, the photo rank challenge went quite well with people. There was nothing really crazy that happened with most of the couples. One of the couples refused to do it. I'll get onto that in a little bit. But the two that I noted as most interesting and the ones that I wanted to talk about the most were Andrea and Richard and Jack and Tori. Now, Andrea and Richard is a weird one because he is 62. The majority of them are half his age or even younger. And so I just felt a little bit uncomfortable with him just jumping in and being like, yeah, let's rank them. Especially after another person had refused to do it because he felt that it was uncomfortable and a little bit creepy to rank girls that are significantly younger than him in terms of looks. And I completely respected that, but I'll get onto that in a little bit. So him just jumping in, I was like, okay. And then he kept on being like, purely on looks, purely on looks, purely on looks. And it just felt like he was gearing up to make excuses for putting Andrea lower in the line. Ugh. I didn't want to have to give him a red flag this early in the series. But yeah, it's a red flag. It's a red flag because he put Andrea third. All he needed to do, and I know I said it was a bad thing for Collins to do this, but like, when you're in a relationship, girls don't like knowing that there are prettier girls than them, right? That seems like common sense. So putting your wife, not just girlfriend, your wife, third in the rankings, behind people who are less than half your age. Yeah, not great. Not great. Not a great. No, just not great in general, actually. Just a little bit weird and a little bit uncomfortable. But as if he wanted to beat the level of uncomfortableness that was brought by Andrea and Richard. Also, Andrea was genuinely upset. And she did air it out with him, and I felt like that was good. Jack and Tori had to do it. And I think Jack's going to end up winning most red flags for the series, because this man is a walking red flag. He was not only very derogatory towards some of the women, he was just making me feel uncomfortable watching him rank them. He was like, too tall, don't want them. No, not the right size. No, this, that. And I was just like, And then when he was like, oh, so where do you think you should be? Because I'm not just going to put you in first. You've got to convince me that why you're the most attractive. Convince me why you're the most attractive. And I was like, how is she not kicking off about this? Because if someone said that to me, convince me that you're the most attractive when you're my husband or you're my wife, I think I'd kick off. I think I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't have to convince you of anything. If you don't think I'm attractive, tell me I'm not attractive. Do it, I dare you. Actually, you probably would, to be fair, and then I'd probably cry. But I just don't get his whole attitude. It's really uncomfortable to watch, and it's just not great. This guy is just one big walking red flag. Yeah, not great. Not great. Not impressed, Jack. Not impressed in the slightest. So we move on to Lucinda and Timothy. Now, Lucinda and Timothy had a interesting time in the Confessions week. I think Lucinda is trying to just get blood out of a stone. Timothy is very set in his ways. He'll sit there and watch TV. He won't really engage with her unless she engages with him. And I think it's just a case of he's so used to single life and he's just not in a headspace or a position at the moment where he can be in a loving relationship. I also don't think he finds her attractive, which is so uncomfortable and so unfortunate, because she is doing the most. She's trying her best. She is trying, and it just isn't getting there. She's trying to spark something, and then he'll ask for some space, and then he's like, he's like, I need time, and she's like, I just want something. It's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since we got married, and you haven't even... I don't even think they've kissed yet. This is what I mean by like... And like, the thing is that she is a very sexually liberal person, and he is a very sexually reclusive. Is that the word I wanted? Sexually repressed, something like that. Where to him, sex is just in, out, done. Whereas to her, it's a whole event. It's a whole like night of passion and wonder. Whereas to him, it's just pump and done. So like, I think they need to get the experts in, and I think they need to have a chat with him and be like, look, you've got to be willing to give it a go. At the end of the day, like just try. You might have a spark. I don't know. With those two, it's very, very difficult to really pinpoint what is going on because they're both so different, but also they are going to be the best of friends if this doesn't work out, because she's really helping him to come out of his shell. And yeah, I think that works really well. So I've got 2 more couples left to talk about, Ben and Ellie and Tristan and Cass. I'm really just going to quickly go through Tristan and Cass. He wrote a letter explaining why he hasn't been intimate with her. It all comes down to him struggling to show affection because he's very worried about rejection. And if he makes a move, then he feels like if it gets rejected, then he doesn't really know where to go from that. It's very, very clear that this guy has some kind of anxiety that just cripples him completely in any social situation. And I can see him desperately trying, and Cass is just willing to give it a go, but obviously she doesn't want to make the first move. Fortunately, he did make the first move. He did kiss her on the lips, and it was a sort of like a yay moment. It was really sweet, and I actually do think they are the sweetest couple at the moment. There's a couple of people that I think are going to be better couples than them, but at the moment they're the ones that are working the best. They're the only people that didn't have any kind of problems in this episode, which is very surprising, I thought. So yeah, there's that. And then, oh no, actually, that's a lie, because Lauren and Jonathan actually got on very well in this episode. The second couple I want to talk about is Ben and Ellie. Yeah, they had a little bit of an argument, disagreement over the ranking challenge. They had to rank their priorities, and for Ellie, one of her priorities is starting a family. And she's made it clear that she won't just get pregnant for the sake of it. She wants to make sure that she is willing to settle down with the right guy. And Ben is very much like, oh, I could have children, I could not have children. I'm not really either way heavily inclined. And she's just nervous that this isn't going to work out, because not having children or not wanting children is a deal breaker for her, and she can't see it going any further. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how they fare with that, because it is going to be a little bit tricky if he doesn't want kids. But he said that he, like, if it's with the right person, then he's happy to have kids. So I think she was just being a bit, like, melodramatic here. But it did really feel like she blew everything out of proportion a little bit. But I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt purely because I know this is something that she's wanted. And she's just... It's difficult when you get into a relationship and they don't want kids. It's like what happened in the previous series where not in the previous series, in the UK version, where I think it was, oh God, what were their names? I don't remember now. But there was a couple, and one of them wanted kids, and the other one was like, I never really wanted kids, and it kind of, that was kind of the deal breaker, and that's what kind of broke them up. But yeah, on the whole, very, very entertaining couple of episodes. We covered, I think it was 7 and 8 there. We've got the what's it called? Commitment ceremony next. That's going to be very interesting. Lots of juicy information to talk about there. But until then, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Keep on ranting. Bye now.